What if I told you that you could go to sleep at night and wake up the next morning richer? Would you believe me? Carry on watching to learn this secret of the rich. Welcome back to the Mindset Masterclass channel, home of high quality content covering entrepreneurship, personal finance and investing. Today's video is all about how the rich grow their wealth while the poor continue to struggle. First of all, let's have a little wake-up call. The majority of people work hard for their money, there's no denying that. They get up early, go to work, put in many hours, come home, tend to their families, go to bed, then repeat. They do this perhaps 5 days a week for about 50 weeks of the year, from the day they leave school to the day they retire. Then they leave work and live out what's left of their days with whatever pension or savings pot they've accumulated through their years of working hard. There's a minority of people, the wealthy-minded among us, who know that there's another way. They don't use their time to earn money, they use their money to make money. That's right, rich people are able to use their wealth to make more money. It might seem unfair, but this is all down to the mindset, financial literacy and discipline of the rich. Poor people might complain that rich people have an unfair advantage, but they too can learn to change their outlook and habits and take control of their finances just like the rich do. I'm not talking here about the people who've inherited wealth, won the lottery or become rich through some other frivolous means. Those people exist, sure, but getting rich is not out of reach of the majority. It's not some sort of exclusive club. Anyone can move from poor to rich if they're willing to change their ways and learn to be smart with their cash. So, how do they do it? Rich people know the difference between active income and passive income. We've made videos on these topics in the past, and I'll add a link to each in the description below. But for those of you who may be new to the channel, I'll briefly explain here. Active income is where you exchange your time for money. The amount of money you're paid is directly linked to how many hours you work. Waged employees like coffee shop baristas, for example, can be considered to be recipients of active income. Their wages will not increase without an increase in hours worked, unless they get some sort of pay rise or promotion. These employees cannot take time off work without seeing a drop in their income, because less hours worked means less money earned. Passive income, however, works differently. This is where a person puts in the effort to create something which can be distributed or replicated multiple times. It can be resold again and again, and the creator can earn money from it while they're asleep or working on something else. A perfect example of this is an author who is able to publish a book which is bought again and again for months and years to come, giving them a stream of income even long after they've finished writing it. Of course, the downside to this type of income is that they are unlikely to earn much, if any, money for the project while they're working on it in the first place, and it can take a lot of upfront time and effort before they even earn a penny. This is the sacrifice which wealthy-minded people are willing to make. Sacrifice is the name of the game. It's what separates the rich from the poor. Rich people are willing to make sacrifices for the long-term good. They do not succumb to instant gratification. They know that by foregoing short-term pleasures, they can build long-term wealth and financial independence. Passive income isn't just limited to authors. There are all sorts of examples of ways to build passive income. This sort of income does not need to depend on an upfront investment of time. Money could be used to buy an already existing cash-flowing asset. This is where the disparity between rich and poor grows ever larger. But how do I buy cash-flowing assets when I'm poor? If I had money to buy assets, I wouldn't be poor, I hear you protest. This is where mindset and discipline really becomes important. Rich people know that instead of buying things which depreciate in value and don't earn them any money, they should invest in productive things, tools or assets which either grow in value over time or help them to make money from month to month. Here at Mindset Masterclass, we believe that only items which provide a regular income can truly be considered to be assets. Poor people, on the other hand, use their money to buy things which lose value. They spend their money on things of little value or purpose, such as going out partying, buying expensive clothes, making payments on cars out of their budgets, and generally doing things they think that rich people do in an attempt to emulate them. In reality, rich-minded people do the opposite. They are frugal. Wealthy-minded people know that the key to long-term financial well-being is to be careful with how they spend their cash. This became clear to me one day in my teenage years when the father of a good friend of mine told me I didn't make my money by spending it. Those words have stuck with me ever since. Rich people might be able to afford to spend money on nice things, but they generally have a long-standing sense of self-discipline which prevents them from frivolous spending. They remember how much time and effort they put into their careers in the early days, the sacrifices they made, and therefore they're not willing to splurge their money now. Rich people might treat themselves every now and then, perhaps they might go on a vacation more often, buy a nicer car than they used to drive, or buy a luxury suit once in a while. But in general they will choose to spend their money on things which will earn them more money in the long run, such as rental properties, dividend-paying stocks, or cash-flowing businesses. They then use the proceeds from these investments to fund their lifestyle and purchases. Meanwhile, the poor, desperate to look rich, are funding purchases on credit cards with interest rates which cause their debt to snowball. They are working in jobs with little scope to improve their income, so their debt grows, their income stays the same, and their time is taken up by working long hours to pay the bills. This is how the rich get richer while the poor get poorer. There are two common situations that people find themselves in when they want to become rich. And of course, wealth isn't just defined by how much money you have in the bank, but also by the extent to which you can leverage your time. True wealth is not just a number, but freedom to control your time. The two situations are time rich and cash poor, or cash rich and time poor. So, my advice if you fall into one of these categories. If you have some money but little time, invest your money into a cash-flowing asset which grows your money. Perhaps look into investing in rental property with like-minded investors so you can pool your cash. If you have plenty of time but little money, you have the time to build something of value which will eventually produce cash flow. Perhaps take the time to build a business. With the internet you don't need much to get started, perhaps a consultancy business giving advice on something you're skilled in or passionate about. The problem is, so many of us find ourselves in positions where we have little time or money to dedicate to a project. And that, truly, is when we have a problem. Only massive action can break this cycle. Sacrifices have to be made. Perhaps leisure time can be reduced, hobbies dropped, and personal effects sold off. I've been there myself, to be honest. It wasn't that long ago. And I'm proud of doing what I had to do. I was in a position where I had little free time and was close to broke. I had to take action, so I put my hobbies and social life on hold, sold almost all of my valuables, and got to work building my own business, using the money from the things I sold to support me until I started earning from fledgling enterprise. Of course, this is not what school prepares you for. Teachers, guidance counsellors, and our families will not tell you to make sacrifices and build something for yourself. They'll tell you it's risky. It's not their fault, that's what they were taught. School prepares you for employment. It teaches you to work for other people. Essentially, the education system and society want us to be recipients of active income, as this is seen as the safe option with little risk. But that also comes with its costs and little reward. It is perfectly possible to follow a career and receive active income. We are not suggesting that having an active source of income is bad. It's all about how you handle the money you make from that career. By all means, pursue the career of your dreams, but here at Mindset Masterclass, we'd like to encourage you to put the money you earn from that career to good use and not spend it on useless junk. Put your money to work. Let it earn more money for you. Make every dollar you earn be your employee. Put it to work in an asset or cash-flowing enterprise so that you can earn even more money. The biggest mistake you can make is to rely solely on your job for financial security. Jobs are not permanent, and redundancy is a risk in times of economic volatility. Essentially, the rich use the money they earn to invest into things which earn them more money. They put their time to use by creating things of value which can generate an income into the future. Poor people spend their money on things which lose value and waste their time on pointless pursuits. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our content on entrepreneurship, personal finance, and investing.